Salute my crib. I'm standing on principles. I'm standing on business. That check on the way, and I'ma go get it. Respect is the only way you go.
Welcome to Salute My Creed. This is a platform where you can speak on your religion, your belief, and the principles that you stand on and bring your everyday success. Today, I have the honor of speaking with Kelley Saxon, a passionate activist and dedicated advocate for those in need in our community. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Definitely thank you for coming on my platform and give us an opportunity to get a chance to know you more and share with, the world about also what you're doing in the community to help.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so the first question I'm going to lead off with, what inspired you to be involved in helping the homeless and addressing poverty in Valdosta and Lowndes County?
I think more so what has inspired me to help in our community, we have to pay our debts to society for being on the planet. Mm-hmm. And what are we doing with our time and talent? So my way of giving back for the time that I've been given is to give back. When you see a need and you have the resource, what better way to serve than to be able to use those resources that you're able to contribute?
Gotcha. So what was your personal background or upbringing influence you and to take on the community work?
I think it's family. Family is a very big deal for me. My family really has been instrumental in this community. And that's one of the main things that even immediate family and our extended family always would say, what can you do for someone in need? Always having that perspective of everybody deserves a time of day, even if it's just a hello, how are you doing? So really getting into service, having that instilled in us, and then also with church attendance, attending church and learning about community there in church and learning about the teachings of the Bible with being a part of my life. So I would say the upbringing of church, family, and then community. I had the opportunity to attend Valdosta State University, and there I did sociology. And with sociology is just pretty much the study of human society. And so we're looking at that is, why do we do what we do? And when we do those things, how can we help with that, and what do we contribute with that? So really having that background and just seeing the need and just having a heart for people.
Gosh. One of the things that stuck out to me when you said the Bible, because my favorite movie is Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. And it's a lot of people that understand the movie, but what that shows is without the Bible brings structure in the world, and without that, there's no structure. And it makes a big deal, and it brings, into our everyday living when you use that.
Yeah. So if you're a person of faith or a believer, you will have those guidelines for you. And then it's just some people who are just good people by nature as well. So I always like to say that it's good people just in nature. But if you are a person of faith, we have those guidelines, absolutely, the guidelines. And I would say even go to say like a roadmap until this is showing us this is how we should be.
Right. Gotcha. My next question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you face trying to address homelessness and housing issues in this community?
We have homelessness here. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
That is a response that we get often, and people are like, we have homelessness here. We have a homeless shelter here. We have those resources here in our community, and we do. And so with looking at like the homeless and getting involved, and I think it's important for us to understand the human side of it with homelessness. When you see different people, oftentimes people think about the homeless individual with the knapsack on his back, like a male with a knapsack on his back. Or can we keep it real here?
Yes, okay. Most definitely.
Or we think about the young lady with 5 children and where's the baby daddy? That's the stigma, the stigma around this. And reality is that what if that young lady with the 5 children has one father and the father is now deceased from fighting in war? So people can look at and give these negative connotations or ideas about knowing somebody's story, and they don't. And when you look at somebody who's homeless, I wonder, what is their name? You know, you look and see different people and making the human connection and the human aspect of it and learning somebody's name.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Just to know their name,
Just to know their
just to be able to
name.
greet and speak.
Right. Just to be able to greet and humanizing that. And then once you get that connection with learning the person's story, oftentimes the story is, I'm working. You have a lot of people who are homeless who are working. They are employed. Some I've seen the employers come pick them up and drop them back off at, outside. So there's different aspects of homelessness. You have people who are facing housing instability due to the lack of a job, job loss or illness or death of a spouse, and that losing that income. And then when you think about the different ones with the domestic violence cases and the breadwinner, is the perpetrator. So there's different aspects of that. And so that what makes me want to know, what's happening, what's going on, and what can we do to kind of help that individual. And then you have some who are on drugs, who are, going through substance abuse or mental health. Right. Mental health is a big thing in our community, especially when there's not treatment or someone's not seeking treatment. It's a challenge for a lot of people. So what can we do to help those people? And it's more so, I would say, meeting people where they are. Not really having the expectation of, I'm going to give you this $10 and you better do this and you better do that. Having that, okay, you're telling me you need $10, here you go.
Now, you just related on so many things, because as you were speaking, I was thinking about, like, even with me, I went to counseling about to be able to have a better relationship with my mom. Yeah. And, like, I had these high expectations of how I see my friends and their relationship with their mother, and then mine were different. But when I went to counseling, it was like, well, you can't put them obligations on her. You have to keep it right here because of the things she's going through. And that's basically what you were speaking on. And then at the same time, I was in California one time, and I didn't realize, like I know we have poverty all over the world, but just to see it so massive, I've seen blocks and blocks and blocks of poverty, and a lot of times, majority of them, it was mental issues. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they was acting out, they was doing this and doing that, and it was sad, and I couldn't believe that, because just being in small Valdosta, you don't see the other things unless you leave here. So even we have it here, but at the same time, you just spoke on about some people feel like it's not here, but it is. It's definitely here.
Yeah, it's definitely here. We actually did a homeless count the beginning of last year in January, and at that time, we had over 100 people on the street homeless that we can put our eyes on and count it and put them in the system. So here we are, post storms. We've had in the last, 14 months, 3 storms and one, what they call biblical flooding. So now you have those people who are displaced. And then when you think about the people who are displaced, guess what? They also have children. Yes. So now you've got children who are expected to go to school, listen, learn, and they're living in their vehicles or living with 14 other people in a 2-bedroom.
And I seen you on a video, you was speaking with a lady, and she was just talking about she had just got her floors put back in, a house remodel, and then now again it's messed back up, and she, with the storm that came through. Yes. And then she was also speaking on, like, she was waiting on FEMA, she was waiting on insurance company, she was denied with her insurance company. And it's like, when you go through that type of thing, like, what do you say? How being able to accept that of an understanding, because there's nothing you can say at that moment can help that person as far as where they at and what they're doing. So how do that affect you when you listening to that and you want to be there to help?
The key thing that you said there was listening.
Okay.
And so, everybody wants to be heard.
Right.
And having that where somebody's just listening about what's happening and making that connection and seeing what could be done, the possibility. You never promise anything. I don't count anything till I get it. Right. Right. So you don't do that. Right. So you don't promise anything, but you can say, I hear you, and this is what I would like to see if we can get done. And so with that, it's rough, and it's going to be even more weather coming. It's not if, it's when.
Mm-hmm. Right. So my next question is, how do you personally cope when the work becomes overwhelming that you're doing out every day? Like, who's taking care of you?
Who's taking care of me? My family is very, very supportive. My husband in prayer. Right. I'm like, God, if this is something that you want me to do, please provide, make the provision. And then sometimes I'll say, okay, I got to step back a little bit and see the bigger picture. And then I'll work on recruiting people to help with the work. And so it's like when you think about when I was growing up, my mom would say to us, my parents, my mom would say, think about at the end of the day, did you do your very best?
Right.
You know, because I wasn't the best in math, I'm be honest. So having that C, seeing my way through with math, because that was my potential at, with math. But I'm very good at reading and writing. But that was the thing is, did you do the very best that you could do?
Leave it all on the table.
And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, then that's all I can ask of you.
Right.
And I still use that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I have to reflect and ask myself, did I do the very best that I could do? Even if it's not something that I would have hoped that it turned out the way I wanted it to. But if I put it all on the table, like you said, there's nothing else I could do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my next question is, how your personal background and you use that to bring influence on the community where you putting out help?
I would say like my personal background with helping in community, it was a time where back in 2010, I had an incident where I had an illness where my lungs kept collapsing. Just a spontaneous, they couldn't explain it or anything. So, I mean, it happened like 4 times. And so during that time, I was not able to work. I was doing some contract work. And when you do contract work, guess what? You don't have those benefits. You don't have sick leave. You don't have the insurance that's needed. And so things got behind. Next thing I know, house in threat of foreclosure, and all of these things were happening. And I was just wondering how and why and how can I help myself get out of this situation. And I wanted to really be just as transparent as I could be. And I'm like, well, what about people who really don't know what to do? Because I was able to get the resources to help because I knew about it. That was my previous work. I've done that before. So I knew what to do. But then it made me think about what about the people who don't know that you can do this, this, and this, and then it's fine.
Right.
And so being able to go through those life changes and experiences, I had done the right thing with going to school. This is before I got married, going to school and getting that job, and then also venturing out to do different type of work. And then boom, something that I did not even expect happened. And so when people have those life changing events, we talk about some of us I'm in there, one paycheck from having a disaster in your life, right?
Definitely.
So if you don't get that paycheck for a month or 2 or 3, that could be a hard challenge for someone, especially if it's beyond your control.
And that's one of the things when I was working for this company. Like when I'm working there, like 1 minute you getting all this overtime, and then it's nice, and then they take it from you because the demand right now it's slowing down. So my mind used to be like me. I can turn to construction. I can turn to going to photography with my brother. I can turn it's several things, avenues that I have. But I used to wonder like, what do the other associates do when you don't have that option,
Right.
and you have to take whatever you can get and go head on with it. And then you have a lot of single mothers. It's just them in the household, taking care of the whole household with them and their kids. So it's a big issue.
Yeah, it's a big issue. So then that makes you have like compassion
Right.
for other people's situations, empathy. And then with some, you have that compassion within reason. So you understand and really want to say, hey, did you know you can do this, this, and this? And this is a possibility. Have you tried this and this and this? And then they'll say, no, I didn't know. And they try it and it works. And then sometimes they may try it and it's not a workable thing, but at least it's something to try.
Right.
So it's not all is not lost.
Right. Okay, my next question is, what role does the community play in supporting your efforts?
Oh, man. Community with the emphasis on unity at the end. I could not do what I do without community, and when people, I have so many people are like, look, what can we do to help? And they don't even want to have recognition or anything. They don't want their name called. It's what can I do to help? I'm here for you to do the work that you're doing, and that is just a blessing. It is. I could not do what I do without community, and of course with our good Lord above
Right.
for giving me the opportunity to serve. Serving is not something that you should take advantage of. It is a opportunity to serve. And so with that, when you have the trust of the people and the support of the people, it's just like I never thought that this could be the position that I am in my community. I tried so hard to leave after college and get a job in Atlanta. I tried Jacksonville. I tried all over. And I'm thinking, well, maybe this is the purpose of me being here, is to serve in my own community.
Right. And that's like we talked about. I just talked with someone about it. Like, if you tell God your plans, if you want him to laugh,
Yeah.
and it's like you was thinking about this, but God had other plans for you.
Exactly. There are other plans. And then I can tell you, I can share this with a recent turn of events this year. Has been a hard year for a lot of people, and
Yes.
myself included. With advocacy work is not easy, because when you advocate and you talk about those things that are happening in community, and you're seen as the lone wolf or the troublemaker, then it's like the attacks come left and right, even the ones who are not validated. But because of who we are as a people, and sometimes that race and being a black woman, female, comes in, and they like to paint the picture of angry black woman. And you have those who buy into it, and it changes things. So I had a drastic change with those situation that happened with me and losing employment, gainful employment. And that was back in March, just for speaking out and saying these different things. But God, I have not missed a beat. I feel like there's a bigger platform, even more so now. And I don't know what made me do this, Vari, but I had the opportunity to run for office during that time. I'm like, I feel like communities should be involved more. We should be able to ask those questions of our leaders and request these things to help the people. And so with doing that, I'm like, how can I get in a position? And people have been asking me about running for a while. I'm not ready for that. And so this kind of propelled me to the point of, well, maybe I should take a look at this.
Right.
And so I said, you don't know until you try. And I'll tell you, like, people are like, you don't even have money. I'm like, of course I don't, but I have a voice.
Right.
And then even with that, even with coming up a little short, over 18,000 people voted for me.
Blessing.
Isn't that something?
That's a blessing. That means you've been seen, you've been heard, and you're doing something great.
Well, thank you. And I see it as, ooh, that's recruiting more people to get the work done, right?
And there's so many people in the community that speak highly about you and the things
thank
that you're
you.
doing. Yeah, I know
I
sometimes
appreciate that.
I know sometimes a leader and you're moving and you're doing things, you don't hear the small talk, but it's a lot going on about, all the great things that you're doing.
I appreciate that. And I hope it inspires someone. I hope it inspires our young people, our middle-aged people, our older adults. Everybody has a role to play in community. And I hope that it inspires people to be able to see, if she did it, and I thought I told you with all my stuff that's happened to me, I can do it too. So it's a thing of looking at your talents. What can you bring to the table? What can you offer in community? And then also learning something new. No, wanting to learn more about what's going on, attending those meetings.
Right. So what did you gain from running? What did you get out of it?
What I got from running is the experience and the understanding about how it works. And so my goal is to maybe do a course or two on, so you're interested in public office. There should not ever be a time where someone runs unopposed, because we all have the ability to serve.
Right.
it's no requirements of credentials. You don't have to have a master's degree. You don't have to have a college degree. You just have to like live in the area and get the people to vote for you.
And I know when Obama got out of office, that's what him and his wife spoke on, especially Michelle. She was talking about teaching the young kids how to do policies, how to get things organized, how to how to be able to run the right way, because it's not put out there for you to do it. It's like one of the things that, like, if you don't get into it to learn it, you might not even really hear about it.
Right. You may not even hear about it. And it's funny because, like, with me, people are like, you should run for Lowndes County chairman of the board. And I'm like, but I don't live in the county. And it's the thing, well, yes, you do live in the county because we all live in Lowndes County. Right. I live inside the city limits, but it's all Lowndes County. Right. So it runs together. So you could run for office for Lowndes County, like board of commissioners or chairman of the board, if you live within the county. Now, the opposite way of that is if you live like in the city limits, county people cannot vote for the mayor.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that. That's knowledge that we're putting out there with everyone.
Yeah, so your county chairman is really like your arm of the state. So the county is the arm of the state. So everybody can vote for that, but you have to be within the city limits for mayor.
Okay. I have one more question. I'm going to get you out of here after this one.
You're good.
What message would you share with others who want to help but don't know where to start?
I would say ask questions. Find out what it is that you have an interest in and really get with those folks who are doing the work. And really take the time to see for yourself and go serve and observe. A volunteer is a volunteer. So if you have 1 hour a month, then you have 1 hour a month. So you go and you see what it is that you would like to do. And then you want to make sure that the organization's mission and goals lines up with your mission and goals.
Right, most definitely on that one.
Yeah. What is it that you're wanting to do? What are the organizations that you're working for? Are they really using it for the good of the people? Or is it more so a self-fulfilling type thing? So you have to be very cautious about things like that.
Okay. I definitely appreciate you coming on today. I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to share your experience with us. We definitely enjoyed you. And one thing I'm going to ask you to do, could I get you to salute all the Creed fans out there today on Salute My Creed?
Yes. Hello, Creed fans. Thank you all so much. And thank you for the opportunity to being here. And you all get involved. Come on. Let's do this community with an emphasis on unity.
Okay. And then we're going to put the hand up. All right. Salute.
Salute.
Come on. Salute. My crib. I'm standing on principle. I'm standing on business. Now check on the way.